Are you buried under a mountain of debt? I might be. Charles Schwab Vice President and Financial Consultant Mike Bonds is going to dig us out. Hello there, Mike.
Good morning, Nikki. It's good to see you.
I made a confessional right there on TV, but so many people can relate. What is an action plan that everyone can follow?
Well, most young couples find themselves in debt as a part of raising a small family, but it doesn't have to control your life. So things you can do to ease up on yourself and your family is to prioritize your debt payments and get a handle on your daily expenses.
Okay.
Those go hand in hand when you create a nice budget.
Well, I think the number one culprit, and I can say that for myself, is debt from credit cards.
Right.
So would you recommend that we just cut them up? I mean, what's your advice?
Well, not right away,
Okay,
all right?
yeah.
But you do want to definitely list them out, list how much your balances are, what your interest rates are, and start to focus in on paying off the high interest rate credit card debt first.
Okay.
Right? Put a little bit more on each payment every month, and then just pay the minimums on the other cards until all that debt's paid off. The other thing you can do is consolidate some of those higher interest rate cards onto a lower interest rate card, but you have to be careful because there's a lot of fees involved with some of those consolidation efforts.
That's what I was
So make
wondering.
sure you do some investigating on that. But once you get the credit card things paid off, then concentrate on other consumer debt as a priority.
Well, we want to pay off our debt, obviously, but we have to be realistic. So many of us are living literally paycheck to paycheck. So if we're just prioritizing in general, not just credit cards alone, but in general our debt, what would you say priority-wise?
Well, some debt works for us and some debt works against us. So for instance, a mortgage works for us in that you're buying into an appreciating property.
Exactly.
You get some tax benefits, and generally the interest rates are fairly low on that type of debt.
True.
And that's not a priority to pay off that kind of debt, whereas with credit cards, they're daily compounding interest, and those are the types of things you want to focus on if you're prioritizing your debt to relief is to pay off credit cards first.
No, that's great advice, and it's so true. And so I think being mindful of how we spend is so important. Would you recommend keeping some kind of a written record of our expenses, or maybe categorizing them into just, you know, should have versus like to haves?
Absolutely. And if you find yourself having to cut back a little bit, you know, don't try to apologize for that.
Okay.
Right? Especially to your kids. Get them involved in the process. So when you go to buy groceries or you go to get clothes or toys, those types of things, make a game out of that when they're in the store so you can find the best deal. Because this is a great time to teach kids about making choices on the things that they want versus the things that they need. So as adults, when we manage our own debt, we're in a situation where we're getting the things that we need, some of the things that we want, paying for it in cash rather than borrowing cash.
Gosh, so many good points and good tips, especially I love that, playing a game with the kids and making them understand at a young age. And obviously Charles Schwab really can help us get out of debt in lots of different ways. Tell us how else you can help us.
Well, you can open up a high yield investor checking account with Schwab Bank, for instance, which has an automatic bill pay service. So when you program your bills in, it keeps you on track, keeps your bills prioritized to get the debt paid off. Also, I would suggest that you put an automatic draft in your checking account to move cash over to your savings to kind of build up an emergency fund. All of these things will help you to find yourself one day out of debt, and that's going to be a peaceful place to be.
That's what we want. Mike, thank you so much. Always great to talk to you, and always good information too.